this series, we're going to be taking a look at actually writing and completing case reports in ARMS using ARMS Mobile. This is our browser-based solution. If you missed it, we also have a portion of this series devoted to mobile CAD and just sort of an overview of the entire mobile system as well. So after this series, you're going to be able to create a case report either issued to you from dispatch or created from scratch from beginning to end. So you'll be able to put in all the information, be able to submit that case report approval, and get it approved faster based off of the business rules and logic that have been placed on the case management side in ARMS Mobile. If you have any questions after these videos, please feel free to give us a call. Number is 1-800-776-6783, and always email us support@arms.com. Thank you. And here we are. So the first thing we're going to do is actually access the case management module. So as we covered in some of the other sections, that means we're either going to click on case management here on our main screen, or we can always come over here, hover over case, and go into any of the submodules of case as well. So case is right there at the top, or we could click on case management and click on case right there. Either way, both roads lead to home. When we get to our very first screen here, what we're going to see is a search screen to where we can see our case log and break it up however we need to. So by default, it's going to show us our last 10. So notice it automatically put my name here in the officer side here. And then if we look down below there, you'll see my last 10 cases. Now I can easily change this. So I can back this out, take my name out, hit search again, and now I'm going to see everybody's case reports in the system, not just mine. And I can continue to page back and forth as far back as I want to go. So I have different options when it comes to how I want to look at my case log. Now, some other things I could search for here, common name. So if I wanted to do something maybe based off of everything that's occurring at this museum, I could type that in, hit search, and that's going to pull that listing of case reports that have occurred at the museum right there for me. If I know the date, I can type in the date and try to search a parameter there. If I know the officer, the CAD number, report number that was issued off of it, it doesn't matter. Whatever I do know and don't know, I can use these parameters to help find the case reports that I'm looking for. Like I said, by default, we're going to see my last 10 cases. So it'll look just like this, to where if I'm logging into this at the beginning of my shift, basically, I can look at this and see what do I need to work on? What are my current case log look like? So you'll see I have some that are in progress here, some that have been submitted for approval, a last one down there that's in progress, and then I can even page back further to see some of the other case reports that I may need to work on, get them submitted, get them approved, so that I can clear out my entire case log here. For the most part, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to click on the row to open up that case report. So for example, if I wanted to click on 190028, I would just click on that row, and that's going to open up that case report into my browser here. So from here, I could then begin to work on my case report. Now let's do a little bit of screen orientation here so you can kind of get an idea of what the process is. All of our tabs are over here to the left-hand side. So these are all the different parts of a case report. I can click on these, but I can also use the little superscripts here to know if there's any data there. So for example, I'm looking at the face page right now, but I can tell there's one incident code on this case report based off the little superscript 1 here. I can tell there's no businesses, no properties, 1 vehicle, so on. Now, if you ever see a red dot, the red dot's going to indicate wherever you're missing data. Now this changes. This isn't the same for every single case report in the system. If I have a case report that has certain data in it, it'll have a different set of red dots compared to another case report that may be set up completely differently. So you do have to pay attention to these red dots to know what's required based off the information that's on my case report right now. Now, if I'm ever curious, if I ever am unsure of what I need to be able to finish off all these red dots, I can either go to the page specifically to usually see what's happening, or I also have the option to click on approval records. And if I click on approval records, it'll actually tell me exactly what I'm missing to be able to submit this case report for approval. So the main goal that we're looking at here is that I want to get rid of all of my red dots so that I can come up here to approval records and submit this for approval. All right. Now, to look at our first case report, when I go to my case management home page, so either by clicking on case here or from the home page clicking on case management, the first thing I'm going to see is that I have a brand new case report. This is one that I just created. I created a simple CAD incident, a vehicle stop, and I issued a case report for it. So since I issued it to myself, Jason Worth, it's going to appear at the top of my list here, and it's going to be listed in green as new so that I know, hey, this is a brand new case report. I'm going to have some information I need to put into this. I need to get this completed. I need to get this submitted for approval. So I'm going to click on that row. Now, my first thing that's going to pop up here is going to be whether or not this is criminal or non-criminal. Now, this is going to be your first kind of introduction to kind of walking through these case reports. So the way this is going to work here is based off my selection, I'm going to have different requirements on my case report. So for example, a criminal case report is going to require a victim. Now that victim could be a person, could be a business, could be a society, could be a school, could be any number of things, but it's going to need to be classified as a victim to be able to meet that need. Non-criminal case reports, so think of that like an information report, wouldn't have that requirement. So that allows me to not have to put in a victim, not have to code something as a victim to get that case report submitted for approval. So for my example, I'm going to go ahead and click on criminal. Now that's going to apply the criminal requirements to my case report. So when my case report loads up, I'm going to see based off of the small amount of data I put on the CAD side that got transferred over into my case report. This is my face page and my subsequent tabs that all have missing required information. So you notice all my red dots here are showing me exactly where I'm missing data, with the end goal being I get rid of those and submit this for approval. So we're going to work this through just tab by tab, so you can take a look at the fields that are available on each screen. So our first page is going to be our face page. Now at the top, our first set of checkboxes here are our restrictions. So that is starting out with confidential, juvenile, and then finally sex offense. So these will be grayed out if you do not have access to them. So for example, if I have access to confidential, then that means I can check this box. And that now means that only people in the ability, that in ARMS that have the ability to view confidential case reports can see this case report or even know it exists. Everybody else won't be able to query for it, won't be able to search for it, won't be able to know that it exists in ARMS. Same thing applies with these other boxes as well. So if I checked both of these, confidential and juvenile, that means now anybody that can view this case report has to have confidential and juvenile report access to be able to search, find, look at this case report. So for the most part, if you don't have access to these, they will be grayed out. So you can't lock yourself out of your own case report. Only people with the ability to view confidential, juvenile, and sex offense will be able to check those boxes to apply that filter to them. Now, as we look below there, you'll see my next two fields actually have the little red asterisks here to show me that I'm missing some required data here. A lot of this information got pulled over from CAD, so you'll notice I've got my date reported, date occurred from, date occurred to, my officer, my location, all that's already here from the CAD side. But I'm missing my report title and status. So let me go ahead and select two things for that. So for my report title for my example case here, I'm just going to call this a criminal case report. And then for my status, I'm going to call this an open case. Now, these lists, these drop-down menus, as always with the rest of ARMS, are all customizable lists. So that means that you can have your ARMS administrator add to, modify, and update these lists if you see something in your drop-down that doesn't meet your needs or something that needs to be added. Now, as we move down below there, you'll see my next fields. I have related agency and number. So this would be if I had an outside agency assist with this. I could put in their agency ID and their number of their case report so that later on I can use that number to query for my case report. So for example, if I was working with an outside PD, I'm just going to call them PD for today, and then their related case number was 19-06-1234. So now if outside PD agency calls in and says, hey, I want everything you have on our case report number 1906-1234, then you can query that to find your relevant case number here. And the vice versa is true too. So if you have your case report number 190029 and you say, hey, I think they took witness statements or they have pictures, they may have some property that I need, I may want to ask them some questions, you'll have their case report number on the face page here so that you can reference it whenever you contact them for that information. Now, as we continue to move down here, you'll notice I have my date reported. So that is automatically put in by CAD, and my date occurred from and date occurred to. So these are required for query reporting, so that's why those get put in there automatically. Below there, you'll see I have my officer and my entered by last modified. Now notice I can't modify my entered by name here. That's just to let me know who was the last person that touched this case report. In my case, it was me. But you could look at this to see if somebody else has modified something on your case report recently. Now I can modify the officer. So in my officer field, I can back this name out and I can replace it with another officer if I wanted to assign this case report out to somebody else. So if I wanted to change who the officer is that's assigned, if I need to move the case report to somebody else, if it was issued to the wrong person, whatever the case may be there, I can make that change from my officer side here to change that on my case report. Finally, as we scroll down a little bit more, you'll notice I have my disposition for my case report. I have all of my disposition notes here that I can put in as well. Not required, but it is there for me to fill out. And then finally at the bottom of this page, I have my dispatch info. So here I'm going to read all the information the dispatcher put in. Notice I can't modify it. This is just here for my reference. But I can use this instead of having to flip back and forth between MobileCAD and my case report or asking a dispatcher for that information. I have all their information right here, and I can use that information and put it into my case report wherever I see fit.